Hey everyone! Alright, I'm sure you're all eager to see what's this about, so as always, I'm jumping straight into it. Timestamps are in the description below, and I actually do a lot of these findings live on Twitch, and I never miss a single chat question, so if you want to check it out or got some questions, come hang there. With Prepatch announced to last only 2 weeks, me and another paladin called Kyung debated if we could find a way to boost shamans quickly to level 60, so they could still get 2 lockouts worth of gear, and find it we did. In short, the two of us solo the undead side of Stratholme from the back entrance to the main gate in around 12 minutes, which gives an insane amount of experience while also giving them reputation with the Argent Dawn. I got some other friends to come with their alts at level 48 and 58 to test the experience gain, so let's run those values real quick. With 3 level 48 shamans, they got 29% of a level per run, which equals to about 40 minutes or 3.5 runs per level. When they were level 58, they were still getting 20% of a level per run, meaning exactly 1 hour or 5 runs per level. If it was only one shaman at level 48, they got 32% per run, so only 3% more than a full group. Keep in mind that none of the characters had any rested experience, as we made sure to get rid of it, and from speaking with some of the mages, this seems to be about 2 times faster than Zul Gurub, while also giving a huge reputation boost to potentially save on Naxxramas attunement, if that's your goal. But don't quote me on this, it's just data I got from mages. As for gear and talents, I want to start by saying that to go at our speed of 12 minutes per run, you'll probably need good gear on both paladins, especially the one that will do the tanking. I was with full tier 2.5, alongside the highest avoidance tanking of pieces like Luther's Neck, Sandstorm Cloak, Gloves and Belt from AQ, and the ring combo from Zul Gurub and the Face of Death shield. Talent-wise, I had Parry and Pursuit of Justice from the Retribution tree, and then as many defensive talents as I could get from Protection. The healer paladin had full tier 3 and Zandalarian Hero Charm equipped so that he could deal as much damage as me, if not sometimes more, and for that he was simply Deep Holy for the increased spell damage with this build. However, if you're a little bit behind on gear, just do the pulls with 1 or less packs and it should still be higher XP than Zul Gurub. Both characters have links in the descriptions below to their talents and gear. As for consumables, you really only need some sort of explosives to make the pulls bigger, and that's it. Like always, I chose to use explosive rockets. Some major healing potions also might be worth keeping around. You can use dense dynamites as well to speed up some kills by a very small amount, but I mostly use them to have snap threat. However, we did end up choosing to use a brilliant wizard oil each, since in Prepatch each use lasts for 1 hour, so effectively you get 5 hours worth of a single oil. Alright, onto the pull itself. The way it works is one paladin does a big pull and brings all the mobs to the corner to force the casters into melee range. Then both paladins simply put Consecration down, and with the new scaling plus healing gear giving 1/3 of their plus heal in spell damage, the damage is just too big. The tank is buffed with Blessing of Light, Sanctuary, Righteous Fury and Retribution Aura, while keeping Seal of Light up and using Holy Shield and Consecration on cooldown for max damage. Meanwhile, the healer has Blessing of Salvation, Wisdom and Improved Devotion Aura, while also doing Consecration on cooldown alongside Holy Wrath and of course keeping the tank alive. While this is the gist of it, I'll now do a detailed run explaining when to use the bubbles, what packs to pull and what spells to use, where the boosties should be, and some general tips that we've learned to avoid wiping. But this time I'm also firstly doing a quick map overview of the pulls and the kill phases. First, these packs are pulled and killed inside the church. Then you pull the whole yard with bubble and kill them in the corridor. After this pull, the boosties move from the entrance to this spot, and if an Eye of Naxxramas spawns on them, they have to kill it instantly. Meanwhile, we take this hallway, including the Unforgiven boss, to this corner. Next, we pull the rest of this side and kite them inside the gates that close and bring some rats, because it acts as a line of sight to the casters. Then, these couple of packs here, and line of sight again in the same place, followed by these 3 separate groups that can be line of sighted in these houses. Finally, we pull all the hallway up to the main gate and bubble our way back into this final pack and kill them in this house. Once everything is dead, open these gates and go through the back to reset. Now that you guys have a decent overview, let's see the actual pull. Once you open the gate, make sure you judgment any mob and use freedom so your healer gets to the church without aggroing. go behind the church to avoid casters, and pull the mob in the back with an exorcism into another judgment on the third pack. Instantly run to the church to line of sight, and once there, both you and the Holy Paladin should instantly start doing consecrations. At this point, don't forget to rebuff Blessing of Sanctuary, and you should have Seal of Light and Zandalarian Trinket up, and your Holy Paladin should also be doing Holy Rats. You can already see the amount of DPS both of us do, and this is probably the smallest pool we do. As for healing, the healer can choose to heal with Flash or Holy Lights, but be careful that you don't have aggro from the casters, as they can silence. When the mobs are dead, drink up and prepare for the next pull. Start off with Freedom into an Exorcism in this group, followed by a Judgment in this one, and finally the Explosive Rocket on the back mobs. Instantly get Bubble up to force the casters into melee range, and make sure to body pull the rest of the packs into the corridor. At this point, your healer should also bubble to make sure the adds go to you and the casters come into the consecration range. In this pool, I actually forgot to put Sanctuary back up, which makes me take a lot more damage, but it's a good showcase that even when you do a few mistakes, you can stay alive. The first tip we have is to always try to have your back against the wall when fighting the big patchwork horrors, as they continuously knock you back. And the second tip is to have a macro like this that instantly uses your taunt on your healer to make sure the casters are on you and won't silence him. Side note, I also want to point out that I'm actually super happy about doing 2k DPS on these boys. Once again, drink up and then start pulling towards the next skill phase. At this point, you should tell your boosties to move to the gate I mentioned before. This is the only time that they will need to move, and if they don't, they won't receive the experience from the mobs that we kill in the main gate. Like I said, they also have to be careful with the Eye of Naxxramas. It gets nearly one shot by even boosties, but if it's not killed quickly, it will spawn elites and eventually kill them. If the Patchwork Horror is here, throw him a stun so he can't knock you during the pull, and make sure you leave a consecration behind where the Unforgiven boss spawns so his adds don't aggro on the healer. Here, since only the first group has casters, you can cast Exorcism on the second pack and line of sight in this corner. Once again, back to the wall, consecration down, and throw taunts on your healers so that the casters run into melee range. Ideally, your healer should be trying to throw as much damage as possible, but sometimes that's hard because they need to keep you up as well. You can help them by judging light on the horrors that take longer to kill, and then get Seal of Light back up. Another thing you can do to help your healer out is to spam these spells on yourself if you have the mana for it. I also tried to spam Exorcism on cooldown on the big fellows, as they have nearly double the health of the other elites, and you don't want to waste a lot of time here. By the way, two more tips are to never pull the neutral boss called Earthstinger Forreston, as he puts a charm effect on your healer which will probably wipe you if you don't dispel him quick enough. And also avoid pulling the neutral mobs, as they cast a 75% healing reduction curse, and if you do pull one, stun it and kill it as soon as possible, because you can't dispel curses. Time to drink up once more and prepare for the pull into the rats. The best way we found to do this is to tightly hug on the right wall, so that the first pack does not aggro and give you a little bit more time before your healer needs to heal you. Turn your camera to the right and exorcism the closest mob from the group in the back. Get Freedom back up, judgment these two mobs, and then start running to the gates where the rats spawn. Don't forget to reapply Blessing of Sanctuary, but be sure you and your healer both go in at the same time. Here the gates act as a wall and a line of sight to the casters, so all you guys have to do is, once again, spam the damage from both the tank and the healer until they're dead. Always be sure to move the mobs around so that none of them are in your back, so you can avoid the most damage possible. Remember, the more damage you avoid, the more the healer can DPS and the faster the runs will be. At this point we're only 3 pulls away from being done and only 7 minutes have passed. But a note to myself and anyone watching. Whilst editing this video, I actually realized the next 2 pulls that we do, we only have 3 packs in each, which is pretty small compared to what we've been doing. So in retrospect, and for anyone planning to use this boost, I'd probably say you can group the next 2 pulls into a single one and kill them in the house on the right, which is the place that we use for the second pull anyway. Alright, following that, you want to hug the right wall. body pull these mobs and exorcism the second pack, while making your way to the gates again and body pulling the third pack along with the patchwork horror. There's not much to say at this point, since it's all rinse and repeat from what we've been doing every kill phase. Just make sure you line of sight the casters and use the taunt on the healer to force them to come into melee range, and you should be just fine. Once that's done, move into the King's Square part of the dungeon. Take a moment to sip on that lovely water and prepare to go again. This time around, there's more than likely a spectral citizen patrolling, so make sure you don't pull them, but if you do, like I said before, stun and kill it quickly as they apply the healing debuff. Rush to the far mobs next to the postmaster boss, pull them with an exorcism and explosive rocket the one on the left. Use freedom again, judgment the third pack, and make your way to the pillar on the house where you can see my healer. Also, as you see me doing it, you need to juggle twice around the pillar to make sure that you line of sight both sides of the casters, the one from the first mobs and the one from the last pack. My healer also chooses to use Blessing of Protection here, since he was getting cleaved by the adds, which pushes his holy light back and potentially could mean death. Before I forget, I also want to thank Kyung and Lindt, the two paladins that helped me do the farm, and the boosties that helped me come here to test the values of the experiences. Alright, the 7th and final pull of the dungeon is all that remains. Here, you'll want to run straight into the main gate alone, and then make your way back with Bubble. Be sure to use freedom as soon as you see the casters finishing their frostbolts, and don't worry too much about getting dazed, because as soon as you exorcism the pack next to the entrance, you should use your bubble to run back and pull the final pack of the dungeon. Once you're close enough, use a judgment or body pull if there's a patrolling ghoul, and line of sight all of the casters in this pillar. By now, your healer should use his bubble after yours is done, so that all the mobs run into you and come inside Consecration, but you can always use the taunt macro anyway to force them into you. One more tip would be that when your tank bubble is about to end, if they timed it well, they might just be able to cast a Holy Wrath too. For the last time, spam all your damages and you should be done exactly at the 12-minute mark. And you can just open the gate next to you and go reset. Alright, best of luck if you're going to do it. This seems to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest way to get shamans up to level 60 as soon as we can. And keep an eye on the channel, as I'm about to upload soon the Prepatch 340 Marathon pull as a paladin in 15 minutes, which is actually faster than what mages can do in Prepatch with the AoE nerf. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you around.